This is Business Decoded podcast with Ronnie Spellman. An informal chats with top business moguls as they share their stories of failure and success in a fun and relaxed way. Get entertained, educated, and unlock the secrets to success.
Welcome to Business Decoded with Ronnie Spellman. I have back a very wonderful guest, Verona Widboom. She is the founder and owner of Booms, Blooms, and Pepperoni Peppers. I always want to say pizza. It just, whenever I get to the pepperoni part,
Pepperoni.
I want to. But she owns a company that produces just amazing product. You're a small farmer that's producing a variety of different items, but mostly peppers that you're growing to make a variety of different sauces, hot sauces, and other products that are like condiments. Mm-hmm. But we met, as we mentioned in the earlier segment, at the farmer's market in Dallas. And you have an incredible product. My daughter loves hot items, hot spices, and the like. And we stopped by your table, and it was hard for us to leave. We wanted to buy everything we could. But I invited you on the program to tell us about your farming processes and what you do and how you started. It's amazing what you're doing. So you mentioned creating in our last show the grow tent, and then you built a greenhouse with your family.
Yeah, we built the greenhouse.
It's just amazing. But tell us about your background. Are you from Texas? Did you grow up here? How did you get to this point in stage in your life?
So I actually was a missionary kid growing up. I traveled the world with my parents. I was born overseas. So I started out being born in Iran, Tehran, and my parents traveled around Afghanistan, India, Pakistan. And I always let my customers know that is really the base for what my flavor and spice came from.
Interesting.
So that's really early on. It was cultivated in me as a child. We lived in not only the Middle East, but we also lived in Southeast Asia for many years. Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, Venezuela, Mexico, all over the world. By the time I was 13, I had already lived in almost 10 different countries.
Oh my gosh.
So with that being said, it was a little bit of a shock for me in Texas when I ended up coming back here with my dad, because the seasons were so different, right? We didn't have the tropical environment anymore of pulling coconuts and papayas and star fruit from our backyard and mangoes and things like that. And also just kind of like the differences in eating and lifestyle here.
Okay.
And so I wanted to recreate a lot of the things that I grew up around when I started growing.
That is amazing.
So tropical plants, talking about that pineapple, right? That was something for me. I was like, how am I going to grow a pineapple in our zone?
Right.
People just don't do that. They come from other countries. And for me, it was more of just kind of recreating my childhood here in Texas.
At what age did you reach Texas?
And so I was 13 when I ended up.
13.
Yes.
Okay.
And
this was your first stop back in the U.S. And your parents are from Texas then?
My parents are actually from Michigan and Ohio.
Okay.
And at 18 years old, they decided to dedicate themselves to preaching God's word all over the world. And that's how long they traveled the world.
Oh my gosh. From their 18 to your 13.
Yes.
Amazing.
And so they instilled in me so many different values as far as just being open-minded to all sorts of cultures and environments and growing things, and coming down to health too, because in other countries we ate so different. We were very much health focused. And even just this last year, for me to start growing ginger and turmeric and things that are really anti-inflammatory and healthy for you. I even make a hot sauce now that has those in it, because I'm like, okay, this is something that was instilled in me from the time I was very young. And so that was my background in childhood. And when I met my husband, now the combination of farming and what I had grown up around, it just was like the perfect connection for me to just start cultivating all of that together.
Amazing. So you finished high school here in Texas?
Yes.
Okay.
I actually did homeschool my whole life.
Oh, wow.
Because we were traveling every 3 months. We were moving either to another region or another country with my 3 siblings.
Okay.
And then my mom ended up staying in Singapore. She's still in Singapore. And I have 4 other siblings as well that are there that are half Chinese. So for me, that's even still a part of my connection to things that we eat at home. Like I make a Singapore chili sauce, and our customers are always mind blown by the flavor in that. And for me, it was just something that we ate all the time. We put it on our chicken and rice dishes, and it has a nice sweet heat with some savory aspects of garlic and ginger, but then you've got raisins in it. And so the flavor burst is pretty phenomenal, but that was just what I ate.
I love my Thai dishes. Pad See Ew is one of my favorite dishes, and Pancit Filipino dish is one of my favorites as well. But that's incredible. So you went to school here after being homeschooled. So they continue to homeschool in Texas?
Yes. So my dad actually continued to homeschool me. I got my GED at 17. And shortly after that, I started going to a community college.
Very nice.
And then I graduated with a fashion marketing degree, which I'm still super passionate about. Those are so many more things that I could do. Just stop me. Right. I learned how to sew and make patterns, and I thought I was going to be a fashion designer at one point. But you know what? Everything that you do in your life, it truly is almost like a preparation for what you're going to end up doing.
I've been having those conversations with family members that are finishing high school, and they don't have the perspective on it yet. But I look back now and I think, just from me being in junior achievement in high school and starting a small business through junior achievement, and I didn't realize how much that would add up and make the person that I am today. It does.
Really, truly, everything that I did in my life, I had no idea. And now on a daily basis, I pull from that. Right. And I'm able to do things now that I've just, learned over the years, and just kind of put it all together in a little package to share with other people.
That's absolutely incredible. Your background is amazing. My daughter, I sent her to Guatemala. She went willingly, but she went to Guatemala when she was around 16, 17, and then to Spain around 17. But the purpose was exactly what you described as your background, just to open her mind to the world. Yeah. There's so many opportunities, so many wonderful parts of our world. There's so many parts here in the U.S., even if just people travel across the U.S. But there's just so much to learn and enjoy and embrace from that kind of experience.
Yeah. The markets that I had done prior to the Dallas Farmers Market, just to kind of test the waters out, they were more local markets.
Okay.
And initially, I think one of the things that you had asked me was one of the challenges that maybe I encountered starting out, and just kind of figuring out what worked for us and finding our customer base and things like that. And obviously, there were always going to be people that maybe liked hot sauce, right? Sure. There was going to be people that were passionate about growing as well. We even have people that want to start their own seeds. So I'm like, hey, I've got seeds too.
I love it.
Tapping into each individual's passion and bringing that to them as well. Like people that want to make their own hot sauce. I have the peppers for you if you want to make your own hot sauce.
So how do you go about creating your own seeds? Do you create them and then store them in a certain place, and then you just go to that group and pull them out? How do you retain and protect and preserve seeds for others?
So seed saving is something we do every year. Some of the seeds, initially when I started peppers, we had to buy our plants.
Right.
So we actually bought our first pepper plants from chiliplants.com. Okay. And they were one of the only really great sources of rarer varieties of pepper plants. So we had to have them shipped to us. They're in New Jersey, I believe. So travel time, start time for planting for them is a little bit later.
Okay.
And so we were like, there has to be a local source for this. We wanted to fill that gap.
Oh, fantastic.
Does that make sense? We knew that we had challenges getting that product. and no one in our area was doing it.
So I try not to interrupt my guests too many times, but that is a moment, that's a business decoded moment where you see an opportunity to provide an additional service based upon your need and the need that you've discovered. So the idea that there is a need for seeds is just amazing, and you wanted to be that local source.
So plants, seeds, and then fresh peppers as well, because we realized in the first year that plants was seasonal for us. So once we have our plants planted and they're in the ground, or once we have our seedlings, what are we going to do the rest of the year?
Right.
And so I kind of came up with a plan to have something year round by having the hot sauces. That'll get us through the winter. Sure. And people always ask us, they're like, oh, when are you going to be the best, like the hottest sauce in the world? Or like, when are you going to get on Hot Ones or something like that? And hey, I'm not saying we never will do it or that we're not, some of the hottest sauce in the world, because I'll tell you about the hottest peppers that we grow. But our goal is to be able to be sustainable year round by doing a lot of the things that farmers do. Seed starting, the plants, the garden starts, planting out, harvesting the fresh peppers. We sell the pepper boxes actually online for people that need those super hots. Even places reach out to us because they need those peppers for their sauces as well. So
I've watched a few of the contests for people eating hot peppers, and these people are professionals, so I think they grow some level of immunity to the hot peppers. And watching them go through that experience of eating to be the last one standing is just amazing. But you mentioned the show, The Hot Ones. Tell me about the show. Have you already applied yet?
Yes, I have not, but I love watching it. Not only, some people, they watch it just for the celebrity that they absolutely love, and they want to see them completely destroyed and in tears. And it's sometimes very hard to stay focused when you're eating a million Scovilles or whatnot. And so that is a challenge on the Hot Ones, is to be able to remain focused and keep your composure under that type of stress. And peppers, for some people, it's something they build up immunity to. And so I do realize that even with our customers, that sometimes they're like, oh, I can handle like the hottest stuff. Sure. And with our sauces, because we are flavor first, I always let them know that we're working with natural capsaicin heat. Okay. And that is something that Ed, who developed the Carolina Reaper and actually has a hot sauce on the Hot Ones, the hottest one, he also feels like it is very important for people to understand and know the difference. Right. There's chemical heat, which is created in a lab. There's isolating that heat. And then there's natural heat. So all of our sauces are based on natural heat.
That's an important distinction.
Absolutely. It can take a much higher quantity of peppers to achieve that heat. And so sometimes you have to explain that to people, that the ratio of peppers that we have to use in this and grow makes our product it's just so much more concentrated in its natural state.
Right.
It is hard to produce something like that on a larger scale too. That's why a lot of people that are commercial, they find that they have to use, an oleo resin to kick up the heat or something so you'll see that on ingredients too, and it changes flavor. It probably lowers their cost. Sure. And so many other things as well.
And that kind of background and dynamics, I love to come back to, because I've worked in supply chain management, trying to get in on, and then we had family allergies, so we really understood labels and what was being placed in. And there are a lot of corners that some manufacturers will cut that try to add cheaper cost products and keep the flavor nearly the same, but it's not the same. Yeah. When it comes to the product in full. Have you found your limit yet on the heat? Your personal limit? Have you?
So I never do anything like contests. Okay. People ask me that all the time. However, my husband and I do try every pepper that we grow. Okay. We need to be able to, taste the flavor, know what we're dealing with. And we do know that we grow some of the hottest in the world, especially even the fact that we grow some new crosses, which have never been tested. Okay. So we're dealing with unstable varieties that may be even hotter than the Reaper. Cool. but they're not as consistent.
Sure.
And some hot sauce companies or even growers choose not to grow those because they're not as stable and they may not produce on a larger scale for them. So they aren't as dependable.
Right.
And so because we're smaller, we have the luxury of playing around with those things and using peppers that maybe nobody else uses or that you couldn't even acquire anywhere.
So tell me two things then. Varieties, let's speak about your scope of finished product and then the scope of peppers that you grow. So tell us what kind of peppers you grow. And then I'd love to talk about your SKUs and what you produce.
So the mildest pepper that we grow, 0 Scovilles, is going to be like a peppercini.
Okay.
And so our first sauce that we have actually in the lineup from mildest to hottest is based on the peppercini pepper.
Okay.
It was actually something we made for our daughter because she wasn't eating spicy at the time. She's younger and she saw us eating hot sauce at the table every night and she wanted the hot sauce experience too.
Oh, interesting.
And now we sell that product at the market. It was based on just like everything started for our family. And she has this sauce experience of no heat at the table. It goes well on things like eggs, pizza, spaghetti, things that she likes to eat. And it is just a flavor sauce.
Okay.
So it's like a pickled peppercini with no heat at all.
Okay.
And so from the mildest pepper we grow, then we progress up to like medium varieties, hot varieties, and then our super hot varieties, which have the reapers, scorpions, ghost peppers, and whatnot in it. And our hottest sauce, so in the, we have 10 products, in our lineup of hot sauces. Some I don't have all the time because it is based on our harvest and our customers know that. For instance, hatch season, right? Hatch peppers are typically later in the year, June, July, August. Okay. And with that, I may not have hatch all year. Okay. It really does depend on our fermentation and what our harvest was that time of year.
Gotcha.
And how long it lasts, as in how fast I sell through that. Sure. And then when I'm out, they know, hey, we're waiting for hatch season again. A lot of our sauces, I'll grow enough to be able to get through to the next season. So we're not fermenting on those. It would be a cooked version of a hot sauce. Okay. So I can freeze them, dehydrate them, and I can use my peppers in a different way. Okay. So medium would be like a hatch pepper, but within those categories, I probably have 50, 60 different varieties.
Oh, 50, 60 varieties of
mild.
Oh, wow.
And then about 50 of the medium. Okay. And then, so we have hundreds and hundreds of varieties of seeds that we start.
So let's do this. We're about halfway through. Where does someone go to find out about all of those varieties?
So our pepper poster, the Pepper World Tour that my husband put together, is on our website.
Okay.
And
what's your website?
pepperonapeppers.com.
Okay.
He was able to make us an amazing print-on-demand poster for the pepper lover and somebody that would like to have that hanging on their wall. A lot of people are just blown away by the quality of it. It's a beautiful matte finish. And I have it next to me at the market all the time because I refer back to that so much when I'm trying to explain something as amazing as our hot chocolate, right? People think, oh, it's got cocoa in it. It's chocolate. And I'm like, no, you have no idea. Let's look at this poster and see all the chocolate super hots that we grow for the sauce.
So tell us about that, because you're right. That one stood out to me, the pepper hot chocolate.
That's the one that you guys tasted and your daughter really loved.
What is that? Because that can be deceptive.
It can. It has no cocoa in it, and it is not a sweet sauce. The reason that we called it that is literally because pepper growers refer to those varieties of brown chocolate super hots as chocolates, hot chocolates. And for us, it seems so simple, but I do explain it to almost every single person that looks at it for the first time and tries it. And the flavor is absolutely incredible. Like you said, to find a sauce that's that hot, that still tastes really good. Right. A couple of the little secrets behind it that we also add to it to give it that chocolate full-bodied kind of smoky umami flavor is that we grow all of our garlic, and I ferment it to black garlic.
Grow all of your garlic?
We grow our garlic. I ferment it to the black garlic, so it gives it even more flavor, and then chocolate tomatoes.
Okay.
So everything that we're putting into it complements the chocolate super hot varieties.
So you grow your chocolate tomatoes as well.
And we grow chocolate tomatoes. And the chocolate super hot varieties, mainly 7-pot chocolates. So those are some of the hottest in the world. Chocolate Reapers. There's a variation of the red Carolina Reaper. Okay. So we're using that in it as well. And then boot jalokias and ghost peppers from India. Some of the hottest in the world. I grew up around that. Right. So eating Indian food, I was like, oh, of course, we've got to grow these peppers. So just one more. As well? Oh, yes. Tons of boot jalokias and bootlas.
Are you one of few in the U.S. that grow those then?
There are specialty pepper growers that also do grow them.
Okay.
And so that's mainly where hot sauce makers have to source their ingredients and their products. And in the U.S., it is very seasonal to be able to get fresh peppers like that. Okay. So in the winter, really, you're not going to be able to. So you're limited to using dried or fermented mash or something like that.
So you seem like a culinary delight. As a chef, I suspect they should be calling you to try to get good, rich flavor for their restaurants.
I do. I play around. I'm creative, and then I pull from my childhood. So different things that I ate growing up, and it really kind of comes naturally to me. But I will say this, my father-in-law, he was in the food industry for many, many years. Okay. So he has a background in the food business. And 2 of our recipes are his original recipes that he finally gave us. And people love it. Our Fresno sauce and our hatched in Texas. And he's always got some great, cool ideas. But those 2 sauces, those are his original sauces. And he makes a killer green chili with hatch peppers too. And he finally gave me his recipe for that. And I always tell people, I'm like, you can have a recipe, but you've got to know actually how to make it.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
he'll tweak things. And I'm like, okay, I know there's something about this recipe that he's either missing or my ratio is wrong, but.
Right. Now, do you ship across the U.S.?
No, we actually don't ship right now. Okay. And so this is the year that we're making some extra steps to get to that.
Okay.
For us, it has more to do with the fact that we've always really prided ourselves in being small, homemade, and all of that. But with that, we're growing.
Right.
And so our expansion is now growing more. So we want to be at 99% of what we're using in our product.
Okay.
Not only the peppers, but we're also growing our garlic, onion, turmeric, ginger, and then much more of our herbs and spices. So we needed more space, and we're expanding in Greenville, 3.5 more acres dedicated to growing more.
Amazing.
And with that, it will come to a point where under the Texas food laws that we have to go commercial. And we always tell people, we're like, it was never our intention.
Sure.
But it's a good thing, right? Growth is good. And that's a whole nother ball game for us. Right. We're in the process of getting everything situated for that to take it to the next level. Right.
Well, you make me think in my conversation with the CEO of Bluebell Ice Cream, they are still vertically integrated. There's still a small Texas company that began in Texas, but now they're expanding beyond Texas and I think 23 states. But they remind me of you. They want to control the quality of their product. So they don't use any co-packers or they don't use any third-party distributors. And I think you can grow a great business that becomes larger and still retain what you started.
Yeah.
And providing the level of quality that you've created. It's just amazing what you've done.
That's our goal for sure. And I mean, I still make every batch myself.
Wow.
I do the markets. I love talking first person about what we do, how I do it.
Right.
And having that connection with the consumer direct from what we're growing, making, and then, tell the story and share it in person.
Amazing. Again, I think that's another good tip for our Business Decoded people is reaching back to understand your capabilities. So your background in art, your world experience, and your family's experience as well, reaching to your father-in-law and your family, your parents, just to understand what you can learn from them in this process. It's just really neat what you've done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We love it. We always say, of course, it's hard work, right?
Right.
But when you love what you do, and I still do every day, I wake up, I have a line of tasks that I know I need to accomplish and do. And I work super hard for it because I know that it's something for our family. And, I'm not doing this for somebody else, right? Because I've done that and I know what it feels like. But to be able to, do it on our own terms and grow it as a business that is, purely what we've made happen.
That's incredible. How does social media, what role does social media play at this stage in your evolution as a company?
Yeah. So social media is a great tool for us to network with other growers of peppers. Okay. So I do find a lot of the seeds that we grow on Instagram. I'm not as active on Facebook, but Instagram has been a great tool and resource for me to actually connect with people in the pepper community that grow out seeds, new crosses, cool things they've either found in their garden that they're like, you need to, try and grow this out, or trading seeds as well. So that's kind of just what the pepper community does.
Interesting.
We share pictures. Our Instagram initially was based solely on photos of our garden, how we grow our greenhouse. And I still do tons of reels. Just last night I posted something about all of our seedlings in the greenhouse and showing the new purple tomato that we're growing this year. And we partnered with them. So that's something new that's just added on to everything that we're doing.
That is really neat. So you use it mostly to interact with people within your community.
I do, yeah.
What do you do for marketing at this point?
And for our marketing, it's mainly, our visuals. So our packaging, I do a little bit of e-blast, but it's more in person, and then working closely with the Dallas Farmers Market on things that they're doing and upcoming events. Like last weekend, they approached me and said, this weekend, they're going to be doing a live segment with me on planting and how to care for your plants and growing.
Okay, very cool. Very, very cool. So you mentioned part of what your plan is for this coming year. What else are you willing to tell our listening audience about the next stage for you?
Yeah, so the next stage for us is growing more, sharing more, and being able to share our product lineup with a bigger audience.
Right. So right now, the customer can't go find your product in H-E-B or Whole Foods or Central Market yet.
No. And, it kind of makes us special too, right? They come to me directly to me for what they need.
I love it. Well, I am excited about your product. And I presume if someone wants to find out how you grow certain products, about how you plant them in the grow tent, are you posting any of that on Instagram?
I do, yes. And I have a whole plant care section on our website as well.
I saw that.
A lot of our customers, this is their 4th year getting plants from us. So we've been able to kind of help them along to grow their gardens. And every year they get their special new varieties from us and they overwinter them. So they know these are, rare specialty varieties that they can't get anywhere else, but they're banging on our door for, when are you going to bring the plants? It's still cold outside, but we'll have them, no doubt.
That's
and
hilarious.
So every year they're ready for our new launches.
So what is your number one selling product, or the product that you make the most of?
So I didn't even talk about our boom sauce, but it's the reason we're here today. So our last name is Widboom.
Yes.
And our first homemade sauce that we ever made, we had to grow our reapers and scorpions for, we referred to as our boom sauce for at least a year prior to ever making it for customers.
Right.
So Boom sauce is our signature sauce. That's our family sauce, the first sauce we ever made. My husband took it to work. The guys wanted to buy it.
Nice.
And here we are today. No one knows unless I tell them our last name's Widboom.
Right.
So that sauce called Boom, it wasn't even intentional. We laugh about it now.
Right.
But that has to be either our number one or close runner up because it's always different. I never know.
Okay.
I love our customers to kind of find their own way and try everything that we have to offer because that's how we do things.
So if you had to describe the Boom sauce, what is it? What does it taste like? What would you compare it with?
So our Boom sauce is going to be, for any hot sauce lover, the perfect balance of sweet, savory, and heat.
Okay.
And so with that, it has a little mix of pineapple, tomato, onion, garlic, and some spices, which is very versatile. So it goes well on almost any type of food, any dish. And the heat level to us and most of our customers is that perfect heat level.
Okay. Very amazing. Verona, you are quite an inspiration for me. And I think hopefully people listening, whether they're into food or hot sauces, but just from a business perspective, how you've created the business is what we all talk about. It's what people see on shows like Shark Tank, right? How do you create a business and how do you really put everything you have into that business to make it successful? And you're doing an incredible job. I can't wait to see what's next for you in 5-10 years and how this evolves. So I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I mean, I wish my husband was here too because he's absolutely the person behind it all too.
Well, we might have to have him back.
He does all the shoveling and I get my hands dirty a lot too.
We'll pick a day and have him on the program. I'd love to hear how he sees the business.
Effort.
It is. Well, thank you for joining us on Business Decoded with Ronnie Spellman.
Thank you for listening to Business Decoded podcast with Ronnie Spellman. Please be sure to subscribe and share and stay tuned for more incredible Business Decoded episodes.